All right, boys. We are live. Guys Being Dudes is officially off the ground. We got the boys in the studio. We got Bobby in his studio. We got everybody here, bro. We got the gang. We got some Guys Being Dudes. What is up, boys? How we feeling? Day one of Guys Being Dudes.
Day freaking one. It is finally here, baby. Excited, pumped. And yeah, I mean, I'm just flowing with emotion, baby. Let's go.
Hey, only what, 3 minutes late?
Yeah. There was a moment there I was like, oh, okay, let's get it. But hey, we're here. We made it. Excited to be here. Excited for you guys to be joining us.
Hell yeah. Wingo, how we feeling?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to go over takes, talk about a little sports, talk about football, basketball, whatever's kind of coming up, and just, whatever we have to go through the mic. And, you guys can give your pitches in the comments, but we're just going to still give our opinions.
Hell yeah. Bobby, let them know. Let the people know.
Dude, I'm hyped. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I never do. We almost lost everything about 5 seconds ago.
Typical fashion.
We actually, it just worked out. Y'all are used to us showing up late, but we actually was ready. I think Pooch tried to go live at 10:59 and a half or 11:59 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bobby living in the central time. Or
technology. Blame technology.
Yeah. The football gods, the basketball gods, the golf gods, whoever it is today, they were like, no, you're not going to do that. These people they're not used to that kind of thing. So
don't blame me too much. How about that, huh? Don't blame me too much. Don't blame me. Blame the gods, okay? Golly.
Hey, he's already abusing the producer cam. Get back. We're still cooking you.
We're 1 minute in.
I have to defend my honor here. Yeah. I got to defend my honor.
No, Pooch grinded it out. He put a lot of these graphics together. It's episode 1, so open to as much feedback, obviously, as possible, too. So let us know in the comments, the vibes, the thoughts, anything that we can do to improve, let us know. But before we start and we got a jam-packed lineup. We're talking college football final here in Miami. We got NFL playoffs and a bunch of other fun little dialogue we're going to get into today. But before we do, we want to give you guys a little bit of context of who Guys Being Dudes is, kind of the origin story of the name, and what the show is all about. So, Bobby, I'll let you kind of kick it off. I know we've been in the group chat for a hot minute putting this together.
Put 'em on pressure.
So tell us how this name even came to life. I know Joe should probably be a part of this too, because he definitely played a factor, but let him know.
Joe is absolutely stuck in traffic somewhere and right now cussing that he doesn't get credit, but I'll give him credit. So early in the process, we were just trying to figure out how to work together and coexist and how this thing was going to all work. We were struggling enough, and some reason I thought it'd be a good idea to bring Wingo into the mix. So me, Joe, Andre, we did a lot of three-way calls and group conferences and stuff. And we were just always just brainstorming for names. And then Joe dropped it first, but it was Guys Being Dudes. And Andre was like, dude, I was literally going to say that. They texted it 10 seconds apart. And so after that, it was fate. I didn't love it at first, but it grew on me. And this is, by all means, a democracy. So, hey, we roll with it. And I love it. I love it now. I think it's perfect. I'm excited for, especially now that we've seen all the hard work. We took our time. That was kind of aggravating. But shout out to everybody. We did it right. We took our time, and we have incredible production ready for y'all, and I'm very excited to bring this to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And something interesting, I was doing a little digging last night, and I don't know why. I went down a rabbit hole just looking through our Instagram. Oh, God. And what do we got there, Bobby? What is that?
It just hit me. I'm chilling with the boys. It's Friday at lunch. Y'all, people are working. We're drinking coffee. Come on, man. Come on.
Hell yeah. But I'm doing a little deep dive last night, and I started scrolling through a bunch of posts, and I run into one of our posts where we went to go see, what is it? How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
And one of the comments in the post, which is Dave's brother, Dan, shout out Dan, was just a bunch of guys being dudes. And that's what, if there's anything that sums it up, I think that moment right there kind of brings together really what this show is all about.
That's destiny, baby. That is destiny.
Meant to be, boys. Meant to be. All right. It's that time. We got a big game Monday night here in the 305. We got the University of Coral Gables. Some of them call them the University of Miami. And the Indiana Hoosiers. Big time matchup. Let's get your guys' thoughts. Obviously,
look at this guy. He's already there.
I
mean, this guy's already pulled up the Pooch cam. twice in the first 10 minutes.
I have to defend the Canes, man. I have to defend the
You'll
Canes.
have your chance. You'll have your chance. We'll have your chance. But as we get into it, Wingo, I'm going to kick it off to you, all right? There's a lot of noise about how dominant Indiana is. So my question to you and to the rest of the group, is Indiana too overhyped going into this game?
All right, look, so, I mean, I'll start off with just saying, you know, obviously University of Miami has had a great season, right? When you look at the Hard Rock Stadium, they have very rarely been able to pack out that stadium. Just meaning that, you know, the campus is down in Coral Gables, you know, the stadium's in Miami Gardens, but this game's going to be packed. The atmosphere is going to be electric. You know, when you look at Fernando Mendoza coming down back to Miami, right? His family's here. Half the stadium's going to be full with his family. And then Miami being able to play at home, the alumni, Mike Warburton's going to be on the sideline going nuts. But when I look at Indiana overall, right, I look at a complete team. A guy like Fernando Mendoza who has less incompletions than he does interceptions. This guy is electric. He's smart. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's prepared. He's calm under pressure. And then you just look at their run game, right? Their defense and the guys that they've just brought back and able to constantly execute. You know, I don't think Indiana is overrated. You know, but Miami's really got to step up. When you look at last game, you know, they had a lot of missed opportunities, having things like dropped interceptions. They have a few injuries on the D-line. And I think those are the things that's going to determine the game, right? Who's winning the turnover battle? Who can run the ball and stop the run? You know, Indiana has a great 1-2 punch at running back. Obviously, Fernando's zipping it in the corners and the lines. But then you got Miami, right? Carson Beck has been playing on an elite level right now, being able to be conservative, right? Make the right decisions, not turn over the ball. Mark Fletcher's rushing for over 100 yards a game. You know, they have their receivers that are standing out. Their D-line is getting after it. You know, who wants to go against a team with Messidor and Ruben Bain on both sides of the ball? I mean, that's pretty scary. So I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think Indiana is, you know, overrated, but it's going to come down to the turnover battle at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I think something interesting, too, to talk about is Miami's path to the national championship, right? When they kind of snuck in, you know, for a lot of, obviously, we know the dialogue and the conversation of getting in over Notre Dame and all these other situations that unfolded, right? Miami proved, obviously, they deserve to be in here. But their path, compared to pretty much anybody else, was one of the bigger gauntlets of the college football playoffs. So I think Miami has proven, like, they maybe can hang with Indiana, right? Yeah. And it's been a defense-first approach, right? Led by that D-line, led by good corner play. Like, they have done a very good job of leveraging their strengths to get to this point. Where do you see, I guess, like an advantage where maybe can kind of take advantage in this game? Obviously, we know how good Indiana's offensive line is, how good their defense is, how efficient Fernando's been, and just great decision-making, amazing in the red zone. I forget what the stats are, but the red zone stats are ridiculous with that offense. But where's that maybe advantage for Miami? Obviously, offensive line is one of those things. But where do you see kind of like an opportunity for Miami to take advantage?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be Miami's defense. I just spoke about Ruben Bain and Messidor. Hopefully, Moten is definitely a big key on the D-line. Hopefully, he's healthy for this game. And then you just look at, you know, they've been almost leading the country in sacks, right? I mean, that right there determines the ball game. Indiana is very efficient on third down. I think it's 58% on third down, and that's something that, you know, sets up the success for the game, because you look at, right, first and second down, if you're able to get to that manageable, you know, offense, running the ball on first down to get it to 2nd and 5, or, you know, getting a completed pass to make it, you know, 2nd and 3. Now you're completing third downs. Now you're moving down the field and moving the sticks, and that's what Indiana's been able to do so successfully. So that's where now I'm leaning on guys like Messidor and Bain, hopefully Moten. You know, they got some very productive linebackers. They have a cornerback coming back for this game. So can they get to that, you know, 2nd and long, 3rd and long, to make, you know, Indiana have to throw the ball downfield, make, you know, Fernando Mendoza make those throws. You know, he's a Heisman winner. He can make those throws, but let's see him do it on another high stage for a national championship. So, you know, I think that's what it's going to come down to, but Miami definitely has the pieces in place to be able to get this done.
Absolutely. Bobby, Dave, give me kind of your 2 cents on the game. Obviously, you guys have been watching these games. I know we all know, and if you don't know, Dave is a very big anti-UM guy.
I'm just a generational hater. Right? I am a hater through and through. But for me, even as somebody who I'm not, obviously, like you mentioned, I'm not a Canes guy, right? Yeah. But even as not being a Canes guy, I was shocked by the spread and kind of almost the disrespect that I feel like they're getting, in the sense of, like, everyone's kind of crowning Indiana already. They're putting the crown on before the ceremony. And as good as I think Indiana is, I think they're going to win. I don't think Miami can't win this game, right? Like, I think Miami absolutely is live to win this game. And like everything Wingo just said, I mean, it really comes down to their defense. Their defense alone, when that opening spread came out, I'm like, dude, this defense, if you remove the offense, this defense can keep this within a touchdown, keep it within a one-score game. So I'm a bit shocked by the number. I'm a bit shocked by like the conversation around it. I mean, people are throwing around like 2019 LSU and like 2001 Canes. And I'm like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. I do think this Indiana team is amazing, but, you know, I don't know if they're that good yet, like to be put in that conversation. And I think Miami is going to be a big test for them. I really do. I think this is going to be a really good game, and a game between two really good defenses. And obviously, you know, the Cuban Missile Crisis is Mendoza, baby.
Baby.
I really do think that Miami does have a really good chance to win this game. I really do.
I think I was going to say one more thing. When you look at Indiana, right, you know, one of the higher scoring, you know, offenses, obviously. You know, I also take a step back to look at their schedule, who they've played. You know, I was speaking to one of my buddies, and they were talking about, you know, when Miami played Ohio State and when Indiana played Ohio State. I think that was at two levels of play, right? When you look at Indiana, they weren't playing as much top competition throughout the entire season. Right, Miami was playing some more top guys, so they were more battle tested. So they were able to, you know, hang in that game a lot more and separate themselves. Indiana's game, that was a little bit closer. So that's when it comes down to, right, playing up to that level of competition and getting on the big stage. So both these teams are definitely going to clash and go at it. But, you know, it's going to come down to, you know, that defense making a stop with those big guys on the edge, as well as, you know, can Carson Beck make those critical throws to Malachi Toney down the field? Can we complete those big-time passes, you know, explosive plays, and not miss it by 2 or 3 yards? And that's going to be the difference in this game.
Yeah. Bobby, I kind of want to piggyback off of that. Give me your thoughts on Carson Beck in this game. We saw what he did at the end of that Ole Miss game, right? Is this kind of like a catalyst of what he can do? How much are they going to rely on him in this game? So I'm curious to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have another big performance. I mean, if they're going to have a chance, he's going to have to pull it out his hat again. He had a legacy game last week. Obviously, big part of the win, you know, running it in for the touchdown to seal the game was huge. But I think you can't lean on Carson Beck. If you need Carson Beck to pull you out of the mud, it's probably too late. So I think they're going to have to play good defense, run the football, kind of keep things close, and try to just play fundamental ball. And, you know, we've seen it. If Carson Beck needs to make a play down the stretch, he can do it. But I don't think you need to put Carson Beck in a situation where he's throwing the ball 35 times or anything like that.
Yeah. What about how do you, if the game goes, and we can get everybody's perspective on this, but Bobby, I'll start with you. Does UM, I guess, benefit from more of a shootout or a close defensive kind of game?
I say close. I don't think they have the firepower. I like a lot of their pieces, but I think we all see it. I'm not a Miami guy. You know, I'm surrounded by Joe, who yells in my ear about it all the time. And he's like, basically all I hear Kane fans saying is run the damn ball. Run the damn ball.
Yeah.
So their best game is playing great defense, and that's something that for a while there, I think I underestimated how good their defense is. Like, their defense is actually legit. Like, so I think their best way to win a game, especially a game of this magnitude against a team so good, is just maybe get that early turnover like they beat Ohio State, get a quick pick six, get a quick, like, whoa, we wasn't ready for that. Play great defense, run the ball, and kind of control time possession. I think that's their best way to win.
Yeah. Wingo, what do you think?
You know, I think, you know, there's a lot of things that's going to go down to this game. You know, when I look at, I think the trenches is going to be a big factor. Miami's got to run the football. Mark Fletcher is very reliable. He gets, you know, those 5 to 6 yards a carry, and that's, you know, what I was talking about earlier. When you get to that, you know, third and manageable, second and manageable, so we can open up your playbook a little bit. You can, you know, take shots down the field on second down and still know you have third down to go get that first down again. So I think that's what it's really going to come down to at the end of the day. Who can run the ball better? And then, you know, I think another take I had, if Moton's not playing in this football game, right, I think that, you know, has a little bit of a strain on Miami's defense just because of the pushback and the knockback in the center D-line of Miami, just because of the way how complete Indiana's D-line is. When you look at, you know, their play calling, their scheme, being able to pull the center, you know, pull the guards outside around the tackle, you know, and run the football behind them. These guys play together. You saw, you know, they won the MVP of the Rose Bowl, and these guys are playing behind Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to the trenches, how well they can run the ball on both sides and stop the run.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Something interesting that's been kind of like a big talking point, right, is that Indiana players are old, right? Like some people are saying that these guys are too old. They're probably not of age, and maybe should not be in college. What's your guys' kind of take on that? As you can see here, we got the I am 12 from the bench warmers on here.
That's experience. That's what they're bringing, and I think that's kind of. I mean, what he's been able to do, Kurt Signetti, is, I mean, coming from JMU, he brought a lot of those guys with him. He's built this culture of guys that want to stay there and be a part of something. So I think it's funny. I think it's cool. It's, rare you see a lot of these teams, obviously in college, they're young kids, but these guys are a lot of seniors, a lot of older guys. So I think it's cool, and I think that's why they're so good, right? They have the snaps, they've got the play time, like they've gelled, they've become one, and that's why they're freaking nasty, dude.
Agreed.
I think I wasn't concerned until I found out Wingo was trying to find an extra year of eligibility. And then I was like, all right, hold the hell up. This is crazy.
Yeah, Wingo's going to go get that money.
Yeah.
Wingo was self-negotiating contracts. He's like, Rosenhaus was like, whoa, chill, brother. You don't get commission off your own deals. Like, chill. But no, I think at the end of the day, the rules are the rules, right? I think a lot of it's crazy. The NIL definitely needs to be filtered and kind of figured out a little better, but the rules are the rules, right? If they let you play 7 years, play 7 years. And man, I think it also, of course, everybody cries when teams are good. When it works, it's a problem. If the Indiana was Indiana per usual, no one would care about this.
True.
But they're beating people up and rolling over people, and they seem like a buzzsaw and unstoppable. So everybody's like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
So the rules are the rules.
And the thing is, they're also doing this with 3-star guys and a lot of mainly three. I think it's what was the stat, Wingo? I don't know if you got it. But
all the playoff teams, they have between like 30 and like 55 4 and 5 stars, right? Indiana has 8. And that goes to show you right there, right? They're a committed team. They've bought into the program. They've bought into Coach Signetti, and they've really just built something there with the guys that were lower level talented when they're coming out of high school, and they're able to get to this point to be in a national championship.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a big game. I mean, we have a lot of storylines too that I think we should definitely touch on, right? Obviously, Natty's here in Miami, right? First time in the college football playoff era that the home team is playing in the national championship, right? Or host city team is playing in the national championship. You got Cristobal from Miami. Obviously went to high school down here. Shout out Christopher Columbus High School, baby. You know I'm gonna plug it in. Let's go. And then obviously you got
Christopher Columbus High School.
Yes, go baby.
don't forget Fernando Mendoza, Belen legend. Belen legend.
But you got Cristobal, you got Fern, you got the host city. It's a massive opportunity for like the storyline of Miami, right? And I think some fans here in Miami, I mean, obviously you got your diehard UM fans that are like, hell yeah, like we're going for UM, right? But it's like one of these things, like you got to root for a guy like Fernando if you're just a Miami guy or a Miami girl, right? Like the story of Fernando, unrecruited basically out of high school. Yale was pretty much his only offer. Gets an offer from Cal kind of at the last second, and then he's not even a starter at Cal, right? Then gets the starting job at Cal, does really well there, and then obviously rest is history, right? So to be able to see Fernando's story and then bring it back home, and not only play in Miami, play against the school that was his dream school kind of growing up, right? Played in the camps. I'm sure you guys have seen some of those interviews where he's there at the Manny Diaz camp, doing his reps, saying like, I would love to play for the U. So it's a little like, do you think there's a little bit of like let me prove, like one more last, like let me prove it to
revenge
you,
game.
Playing against you, like revenge game type feel?
Yeah, so I'll definitely say this is not only just almost like a revenge story for Fernando Mendoza, it's everything for him. When you look at his Heisman speech, when you look at things like his family, right, his mom, being able to be there for her, his foundation, the message that he sent out to all those kids who didn't have the opportunity, weren't recruited highly out of high school, were told that they didn't have what it takes to get to that next level. Like he is the testament to what it takes to get to that next level and be successful. And he's using his platform amazing, right? He is the dream person that you want in your locker room to be your leader. And I think it's just so much more than, just playing back in Miami and playing back at home and playing for his family, being able to represent those that didn't have the opportunity, be able to do this for his mom and everybody that's, been there for him this entire time. And I think, that shows, the dedication every single day, showing up, being a leader for these guys. You see how body in he is. You see the level of, commitment. This guy doesn't have any social media. He's only on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn guy, baby. I
Instagram
love it.
or Twitter, man.
What a dog.
And he's right about that stuff. That stuff can be a distraction, and he knows that, and he's been able to, stay locked in, stay focused, have tunnel vision. And I see this guy playing a long, long time in the NFL, and, I'm excited for Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait to see him unleashed in Vegas. What a personality to have out there in Vegas, baby. I love it.
I know. So, somebody made an interesting comment on one of the pods that we had just released with Fern, and it's like, obviously everything's lining up for him to be in Vegas, to be a Raider, as kind of what it looks like. But being under Brady, right? Brady's obviously a part owner of the team. He's involved with the team. So having a guy like Fernando come in, which kind of gives like a little bit of like this Brady vibe, underdog story. Obviously he's going to be drafted way higher than Brady was. But leading up to this point, right? Obviously Fern got to this point, but you're talking about a year ago, Fern was not that guy, right?
Yeah.
So being able to learn from a guy like Brady, I mean, shit, man, the sky's the limit for that kid, and the work ethic, and everyone calls him a nerd, but he's a football nerd, right? And he's a dude, bro. Yeah. He's a dude.
And listen, it starts Monday. Like, this is the moment for him to cement his college legacy. And I mean, if he goes out, and I was listening to something the other day, it's like, when was the last time we saw a Heisman winner even level up their game after winning it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's almost entered another level in these last two games than even the regular season.
Yeah.
Like he's playing at an unreal level, and that's why they're dominating teams. I mean, he's so efficient. Like you mentioned, the red zone thing. I think it's 32 or 34 passing touchdowns, 8 rushing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's efficient. They don't make mistakes. He specifically doesn't make too many mistakes. And even when he does, like that Oregon game, regular season, he throws that pick six, next drive, boom, driving down the field. I mean, I can't say anything more about this kid. I think he's awesome, and I can't wait to see him dominate on Monday.
The stats are kind of crazy. Like, he'll go 15 for 17, like 2 incompletions on the whole game. Like, it's crazy. Bobby, you got something?
Yeah, I think we make a lot of jokes about the NIL and the fucking transfer portal or whatever, but I think one of the coolest things for me is being, like you were saying, no one knew who he was last year. The transfer thing has let a lot of guys slow cook and get on bigger stages and become the guy they're supposed to be. You think about Cam Ward. Cam Ward came all the way from the bottom. End up being a number 1 overall pick. Now you got Mendoza going to be the number 1 overall pick. You got Trinidad over here. He's fighting for a 6th year or whatever, but Trinidad was a no-name guy too. So the one good thing about the transfer portal is guys that maybe wasn't ready when they were 18 years old have a chance to slow cook and then get on a bigger stage and kind of move up the ranks at their level, at their speed, and it's worked out. So that's one good thing about it is guys that normally wouldn't get the recognition, a guy that just wasn't ready out of high school that had to go to whatever, D3, whatever, they end up playing 4 years there and never get recognition, never get spotlight, never get found out, maybe never get drafted. These guys go work, 9-to-5 jobs, end up, getting hired by Tranquilo Sports. And, but it's like, that's a cool part of it.
Yeah. Well, Fern's ready to get a job because guys active on LinkedIn, bro. So.
Yeah, that's true. One of my favorite things they do is update his LinkedIn after every win, and he's got a lot of them now, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool to see guys who do enter the transfer portal and end up successful. But now looking at it on the other side, right? You have about, the transfer portal actually ends today, and you have about, 3,000 guys still in that portal. Right? And you got to realize that they're done playing football. Like, there's not another opportunity for them to get on a team. So, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? But it's exciting to really do see those stories play out for the guys that it is. But, sometimes there's a lot of guys right now that are in the portal figuring out, hey, can I come back to the school I was just at? I don't have an home anymore. Yeah. So, I think it goes both ways just to know that, just because you're going to transfer, it's not always going to work out. If you're chasing the money, if you're chasing, whatever it might be because you're unhappy or something like that. But hey, it's worked out for a lot of guys that have been successful, not only in the NFL, but in college football. But I just hope guys take a second to really, have a plan for what they do before they're going in the portal, right? Have a list of schools maybe that they're interested in, have a good agent or someone that can kind of take care of you. But yeah, it's important because, why, look at a 19-year-old and be like, I'm in the portal, don't get picked up, and now you're kind of looking for a job or figuring out how you're going to, be in school and finish school. So that's something definitely to take into context as well.
Yeah, so let me pull up Wingo's business card.
Let me ask you something, Wingo. You said you don't get to go somewhere else if it doesn't work out. Talk about kind of the pros and cons of like sitting on a better team as a fifth string, but being on a team, and like kind of how do you weigh those choices and go out there and put yourself out there knowing you might not find a place, but you're not going to settle for being a fifth string at LSU. So maybe you do drop to UL and you're a starter now, or maybe you go roll that dice, you don't get picked up. Talk about kind of like what goes into that decision and the risk there.
Yeah, so one of the things I'll definitely say, I say this to everybody that I always talk to, team success most of the time brings individual success. And that's just about being bought into the program and winning games, right? If you're winning games, you're going to get looked at more. And I use, for example, right, 2019 LSU, almost everybody on that entire team got drafted. And got drafted a lot higher than they would have been if they weren't winning football games. Besides maybe the few, right, Joe Burrow and some of those guys, but a lot of those guys got drafted higher just because they were on that national team, right? So if you're looking at someone where you're at a fifth string or a fourth string, obviously you want to get that reps, and playing football and being on the field is the only way you're going to get NIL deals, or you're going to get recognition, or coaches are going to see you. But I do look at it as a perspective of like, hey. If I'm still getting reps and still playing at Ohio State or at Alabama or somewhere where a team is, playing on that national level and playing against competition, I look at you and I'm like, you're battle tested, right? You've been against, these top guys and can compete with them. And then when you look at someone like a smaller school, the question is, yeah, they've been dominating, but it's not going against good talent. But then another thing I'm going to say is, there's always going to be questions no matter what. Right, no matter where, if you go to the Senior Bowl, if you're going at the Combine, they're going to say something negative if you were at Ohio State or if you were at Bethune-Cookman, right? The Bethune-Cookman guy had 2,000 yards, but he wasn't going against top guys. The guy at Alabama, he was a second string, and he got it against lower level teams. There's always going to be questions. There's always going to be doubters. There's always going to be people that just don't believe in it, and it's just about proving it day in and day out. And that's where it comes down to the type of guy you are, the personality, who they think you are in the locker room, just a little bit about, can you do the X's and O's? And I've seen plenty of guys, be dominant on the football field, and then when it's time to get an interview or a meeting or draw some things up, and they're clueless, and they don't know what's going on because their college catered to, just their talent and telling them to go out and play football. That doesn't work at the next level. So that's something guys, need to understand is being a complete player allows you to not only just stay in the NFL for longer, but can allow you to stay healthy, do the right things by getting treatment and taking care of your body and the right nutrition. There's so many different things that goes into just being a complete football player. And, that's someone where I look at Fernando Mendoza, who exactly that is.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. All right,
brother.
Before we move on, let's get some score predictions on the game. And by the way, Wingo's comment is just going to stay there, I think, for the rest of the show. So we're just going to shout out Wingo and all exclamation.
Shout out Rolling with Carlos.
Exclamation. I think it's stuck. So Rolling with Carlos, you're getting a nice big shout out on the show today.
Hey, what up, Rolling with Carlos? Let's go. Welcome, baby.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's kind of stuck up there. I'm trying to take it down. So Rolling with Carlos, bro, congratulations to you, dog. You're the featured comment of the whole show.
He's got Wingo blushing, man. He's got Wingo blushing, man.
I love what comment it's stuck on, too.
Cooking. I thought we were just leaving it up there. I was like, yeah.
Wingo was feeling it. Wingo was feeling it the whole time. He's like, hell yeah, I love this.
Well, anybody who watches the show knows that Wingo cooks. And this is just more of a platform for Wingo to be cooking. So this is perfect.
I think somebody made a comment I briefly saw there, something about the eye contact. So,
Wingo staring into his eye. Over Carlos.
That's amazing. All right, real quick, let's get some score predictions. Bobby, you kick it off. Give me your score prediction for the Natty.
I love putting Bobby on the hot seat.
Nothing worse, and I get this a lot, nothing worse than being put on the spot first. Honestly, boys, I don't know, man.
Me either.
I think, hate to do it. I know this is the first show, probably a lot of South Florida people in the chat. Indiana 31, Canes 20, 21. I mean, I think Indiana's just a fine old machine right now. Canes got a couple injuries. Signetti's got the boys humming. I mean, he ain't cracked a smile in 37 weeks. I mean, I think he smiles after the game. That'd be a good over-under bet. Does he smile finally? But Signetti's got the boys humming. Mendoza's in full control. They're the only team. I was telling somebody this. They're the only team that has the #1 consensus overall pick at quarterback and will show up and put him on ice and run the ball down your throat and just play great defense. It's like they don't even need it all the time. It's like insane how good Indiana is.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm with you. Dave, let me hear it.
I'm also rolling with the Hoosiers. I think it's, again, I said they're going to cover the spread. I still think they're going to do it. They're still losing by a touchdown. I got 27-20. I got Indiana. I got Mendoza. Lighting them up. I guess 27. You can't. Yeah, 4 touchdowns, missed extra point, gets you to 27. All right, Mendoza's going to have more touchdowns than incompletes again in this game. But I still think it's going to be a really good game, and I'm very excited for it. But 27-20, lock it in.
Let's hear it, Wingo.
I'm gonna go 23-31 Indiana. I say that because the spread is 8.5, and you know how they like it. So I'm gonna play it right there on the line.
Flag right, toeing the line.
Yeah, so I think Indiana's gonna pull it off. I just think they're too much of a complete team. I think Miami's gonna, they're gonna dogfight it all the way out. It's gonna be a turnover battle game, but 31 to 23 Indiana Hoosiers.
Very nice.
Andre, I'm going to tell you something before you go.
Okay.
We've now got 3 picks for Indiana. We don't want to do,
we got one over here.
Okay, good. Let's make sure we get Pooch's pick, because I don't want,
we got
the
Pooch's pick
classic
coming.
jinx.
Don't you worry.
Everyone in Indiana, we are rooting for them. So, it's like, let's make sure. Okay,
We're not going to let that
there.
happen. Pooch is, unless he wants to play games and he doesn't root for his own team, but.
You want to get my prediction?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, let me go first.
I was gonna let you go last to close it out, but you want to go, and then I can make my play.
I'm gonna give my same prediction I gave. We did an episode yesterday. I think it's gonna be 20-10 Canes.
Wow. Whoa, wait, 20-10. You think Indiana's only dropping 10?
I think Indiana's gonna drop 10 points in this game.
That's crazy.
Cocky Poochie, I love it.
Yeah.
Cocky Poochie, baby,
I think
let's
they're
go.
gonna score 10 points. I think we're gonna rattle Mendoza's cage.
You do not talk bad about my boy Mendoza over
I don't
there, all
want
right?
to. It's a messed up position for me. But I gotta go with my colors, dude.
At least you can pick the Canes to win, but 10 points, bro? The disrespect.
They only put 13 on Ohio State.
Get out of here, bro.
That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Crickets.
Hey, look, that's my 2 cents. That's what I think the score is gonna be. Listen, we've seen it before, man. We've seen Indiana get into close games with some of these teams, especially Ohio State, our common opponent. So I don't see why, our defense can come in, get some pressure, and force some mistakes, man. That's the thing. Indiana is a team that doesn't make a lot of mistakes, especially, on the turnover margin. I think they have the number 1 turnover margin in all of college football. They're number 1 in penalties against. So this isn't a team that makes a lot of mistakes. So I think our defense is going to force them to make mistakes, critical mistakes. That's going to force them to, lose possession, give us the ball. And, when we get the ball, we're going to hold that shit for 14, 15-minute drives. That's the reality of it.
Let him know.
Change the comments to Pooch. Pooch's comments gotta be up there.
Cocky ass Pooch, I love it.
No, it's not
man.
cocky, bro. I'm confident in this team. Look, all the credit to Indiana. They're a hell of a football team.
Oh, don't do that.
Don't do that. Here we go.
Don't do that. Oh,
They're
yeah,
good
sure.
team.
Like little Indiana.
But I
Stop
think-
it, Pooch.
I think the path of teams that Canes have to get here, they've beaten 3 top 10 consensus teams. Texas A&M was top 3 before the last week of the season. Ohio State was the national championship.
So is
favorite.
Indiana, though. Indiana's beating Ohio
Indiana
State,
was up there,
Oregon,
obviously.
and
so it only makes
Bama.
sense for us to take down number 1 on the way. We're just going up the ladder of the top 10 teams, and right now we're gonna end it with Indiana.
All right.
I think we're gonna go in there. We're
That's
at
the
home,
rationale. Just climb the
and
ladder.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
One
why
at a
not?
time.
Why not the Canes? I think
Corporate
they have
ladder,
the talent,
baby.
they have the mentality, and anyone that watches Canes games, we love the underdog.
Oh, boy.
Role. We love being under. We love the 10-point spreads against Ohio State, and we went there and we smacked that shit. So it didn't happen.
Oh, my. Get this production cam off the damn fucking screen.
Guys,
We
we're in the
smacked that
national
shit.
championship, and I can't talk.
Hey, put that on a shirt. Smack that shit. Quote Pooch.
Mike
Big
ordered
pause,
with the
big
belt.
pause.
Mike
Yeah.
ordered with
Big
the belt.
pause.
That sounds like one of them.
No, go, Bobby. Go.
That sounds like one of them Cajun seasoning companies down here in Louisiana. Just put that on a fucking bottle of Tony's and sell it for fucking $10.
It's like those shirts they sell at the outside of the stage. He's like, bitch, I'm a dolphin. Like, it's like,
Bell to ass.
Oh, my God. I was going to keep it nice and close, but after that, give me 38-20 Indiana.
all right, let's go,
Let's
Dre.
go. They're going to blow it up in the 4th. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, man.
Let's go. All right, boys. That's enough for the Natty. We got a fun segment. Obviously, the name of the show, Guys Being the Dudes. We want to be able to show what dudes do on a daily basis, right? Show the dudes what's up. Show the dudes across the country, dude moments, dude of the week coming at the end of the episode. But let's pull up our dude moment of the week, Pooch. Let them see what we got for this week.
I'm an oyster farmer, so I'm chronically cash poor, but I am oyster rich. I will trade you thousands of oysters for those tickets. If you don't know what to do with thousands of oysters, I'm willing to offer our mobile raw bar catering service, so we'll bring out the entire raw bar to wherever you want. For your friends at a big party, we're talking shuckers, mignonettes, cocktail sauce, horseradish, the whole show. We'll bring it out for you. All you gotta do, get me some of them Natty Champs tickets. Send this to someone who knows how to get tickets. Please, please, please. Go Canes, baby.
Escape the Canes, man.
I know. I mean,
That's incredible, though. That's incredible.
It is incredible. So, Bobby, I don't know if you or Pooch, you guys want to touch on a little bit on this story. Dude moment of the week. Obviously, around the national championship, and a pretty epic story.
Very pricey, too, so he's doing all he can to get there.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think, dude, it's honestly just a guy being a dude, man. He's out there grinding.
Yeah.
He's freaking, like he said, rich in oysters, but not in money. And he needs help. He's got all the oysters in the world. If somebody wants to trade, whatever you need, he can deliver oyster-wise. Just get him to the championship game. And I think that embodies being a super fan and, doing whatever it takes to go see your team and how much that means to somebody. So awesome, obviously legendary clip.
Yeah, if he somehow finds a way using oysters to get into that game, we got to get him on the show next week somehow, some way. That would be
100%.
epic. That would be epic.
You better be wearing the same outfit too. If he gets the national championship, you better be in his full overalls and everything there as well.
And having oysters on the show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm starving, dude.
You're hungry?
Every time we get on here, David's starving. Dude, you got to eat.
Well, the guy's
I'm
fasting
dude.
right
I'm
now.
fasting right now.
my bad.
I'm trying. Listen, I'm trying to lose a little weight. New year, new me. You know what I mean? And man, right now I'm regretting it because I'm freaking starving. But
Hey, man.
it's all good, man. It's all good.
David won't tell you the truth. David feels the pressure sitting next to Wingo on the show.
I see Wingo with his guns out, man. He's like freaking jacked, dude. And I'm like, oh shit.
Well, we ain't talking movies anymore. Top Gun, son.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, man. All right, boys. So, obviously, we got a big week of some NFL playoff slates this week. A ton of really, really good games starting Saturday. Let's kick it off with the first game this weekend. We got Broncos versus Bills. Big matchup between Bo Nix and Josh Allen. I know we got some takes in the room that we're going to touch on. But going into this game, let's start off. Who's the guy and who's the dude of this game between Bo Nix and Mr. Josh Allen? Wingo, I know you got a take on this, so let him hear it.
I'm going to take Bo Nix over Josh Allen.
Bam!
I say this because
Crazy
obviously,
take.
Right, you look at Josh Allen. He's been putting the cape on when it comes time to playoffs. He's been dominated. Pause. But he's dominated. He's got their team pretty far a lot of the times, but they've never been able to get over that hump. Bo Nix, I think, is playing at an elite level. Right, coming from Auburn to Oregon to now the Broncos. I think they have a full, complete team. They've had some time off. There has been the curse of the team having time off, not coming back with the same momentum. But I think Josh Allen is banged up, right? He took a lot of hits last week, in the knee, the finger. He's pretty banged up. So, I see Bo Nix being able to go out there and just be dominant. Their defense on the Broncos, Nick Benito, hometown guy down here, has been electric. Being able to rush and get off through the passer, guy that plays with speed. And overall, I just think Bo Nix is taking that next step to be now in those conversations of elite quarterbacks. When you look at the stats side by side, right, they're almost exactly similar. Right, they've both thrown, I think it's 25 touchdowns each. They both have 10 or 11 interceptions. Their completion rate is about exactly the same, around that 68%. So I think, the level of play is very similar, but I think Bo Nix, he's hungry. I think Bo Nix is young. He wants to get after it. He wants to prove himself. And Josh Allen has just never been able to give her that hump. So I think, this is the time that Bo Nix is gonna take over.
Wingo, man, as again a hater of my enemies, I love to hear that. I just want to throw that out there. I love to hear that. I want nothing more than Bo Nix to outplay Josh this weekend, and I want nothing more than the Broncos to win. However, this guy is freaking scaring me, man. It just seems like it's almost like the perfect story type thing. I hate that. I hate it. I hated everything in my body. So I'm hoping you're right. Like, I want you to be correct. Like, I want Bo Nix to go out and win this game. They've got the week off, prepping purely for this game. But, I mean, Josh Allen, dude. I mean, this guy, what he did last week alone, what he's been doing, I hate his guts, but my God, it seems almost destiny, and I hope Wingo's right. So I'm going riding with Wingo, with Bo Nix, but deep down, I feel like this guy does nothing but torture me, except when we beat his ass this year, just throwing that out there. But he's done nothing but torture me for 7 years. I don't know why the torture would end now, but let's see.
Bobby, who's the dude? Who's the guy this week?
Look, here it's a beautiful storyline. It's perfect, really. The dude is absolutely Josh Allen. But the cool thing is about this sport is, everybody knows it. You want to be the dude, you got to beat the dude. Bo Nix has that opportunity right in front of him. I will also say this, Wingo. You can't talk about South Florida legends without bringing up my boy, Pat Surtain Jr.
You're right.
Come on, man. One of the best on the outside. I think the Broncos have a better overall team. I mean, they got the offense humming. The defense is obviously elite. It's been like that for a minute. They got the bye week. That's huge, like Wingo said. The Bills, their first-round corner, still out. Poyer's out. Josh Allen is hurting on the left, hurting on the right. But his cape has no holes in it. So never count out Josh Allen. I think every year he pulls the magic out the hat and comes up with something until he meets the Chiefs. And guess what? The Chiefs ain't nowhere to be found, boys. Yep. You know, the kryptonite is sitting on the couch. So that does concern me a little bit. I do believe, though, the Broncos have everything going their way, and that week off is going to be too much, really. I think the Broncos come in and they get it done, but never count out Josh Allen.
I think this is going to be a weather game, too. I think if you're
not as much as Chicago, obviously, is going to be, but it will be cold. Obviously, elevation plays a factor when playing out there in the Mile High City. So there will be factors as far as weather. I don't know if that will be enough, considering it's Buffalo going over there. But to me, right, like, especially for the sake of this segment, dude versus guy, you saw what Josh Allen did last week, right? Gets checked for a concussion, has the knee injury, coming in with an ankle injury going to the game, hurts the hand throwing the ball, yet nothing seems to faze the guy. That guy could be, he might take a gunshot wound during a game and he might still be able to be running on the field. It's crazy, man. Like, I don't know what that guy's body's made out of.
Yeah, I mean,
that's incredible.
I mean, listen, he's banged up though, and but he doesn't stop. And again, that's what scares me, right? It's like the team of destiny vibes, and I hate it. He is really, by the way, I actually think Josh Allen's become like the NFL media darling. I think he's honestly almost, they're trying to get this guy a damn Super Bowl. They're already like, oh, he's never won. He's won in every stadium except where the Super Bowl's being played. Like, oh my God, dude, it's terrible. Like,
damn, that is crazy.
It's like,
that is crazy.
Oh my God, I just can't with this guy. I'll
give you one take. You know, I think Josh Allen has got something to prove to Michael B. Jordan. So I think there might be a little bit of.
And that's his other kryptonite.
Holy hell.
That is a crazy.
I was trying to explain that dynamic to my wife the other day, and she was like, I don't get it. I was like, yeah, guys don't always make sense with how they go after people.
That's a good thing for you, Bobby.
Like,
that's a good thing that she said that.
yeah. But we watched that movie together. She understands the role, but she didn't get because it's her job and that's her profession. But I was like, look, when you can't actually talk shit about the guy's actual football game, you find anything. Yep. And unfortunately, that's where it landed.
Well, do you remember when Russ, I think he went to go play in Atlanta, and they just were bumping Future in the stadium, bro?
Listen, anything to get in your opponent's head, I'm in for, dude. I think it's all fair game.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I guess one last point on this game, right? Obviously, the storyline around Denver has been their defense all year. Wingo, you talked about how well Bo's playing, but Josh has had to be kind of like that superhero all year long. Is the defense of Denver just going to be too much, or is it kind of like a favorable matchup considering, the power that Josh has? Bills defense is not what it's been in the past, but it makes plays when it needs to. But is Broncos defense just too much for the Bills to handle in this game?
Yeah, so here's what I'll tell you. When I look at it, I look at Pat Surtain on an island over there, right? He's going to be able to eliminate whether or not who's going to be the factor at wide receiver that game. Is it going to be Keon Coleman, right? Is it going to be Shakir? Is it like who is it going to be?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest question when I watch the Bills is, who is the wide receiver one? Who's going to get the ball a lot? And then how well is James Cook going to run the ball or be able to catch the ball out of the backfield? I think those are the two things that's going to determine it for the Bills. And then it's, what can Josh Allen do? I know, the defense is just, they play very complete, out there. And I think, Pat Surtain automatically being able to eliminate just one of those key factors has the opportunity is someone going to step up, right? Is Keon Coleman going to have a breakout game?
Right.
Is he going to be able to have, 5, 6, like all these, I almost did it. But is he going to be able to have the receptions and the yards and be able to step up if one of those other receivers is shut down? And then, I think a lot of the factor falls down to James Cook, right? Obviously tremendous runner, tremendous vision, being able to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a complete running back. He's able to open up the playbook a lot for them. So it's going to be how well the receivers can step up with just, the Broncos defense, being able to play on all angles and, get those mismatches. That's what I think the biggest thing that they're going to be looking for is the mismatches with James Cook on the linebackers, being able to run the wheel routes on the outside, the angles, the option routes. I think, Josh Allen's got to handle business, but who's going to be the receiver that steps up for the Bills?
All right.
James Cook, another South Florida legend.
Yes, absolutely. So give me quick picks for this game. Dave, we'll start with you.
I'm going to avoid the pick, and I'm picking Bo Nix and Josh Allen to both score in this game.
Okay,
I don't know
there
what
you
the
go.
hell this game's going to be, but I think they're both getting in the end zone. Dude versus guy play.
I like it. Wingo, who do you got?
You know who I'm taking. I'm taking Bo Nix to tear it up. He's going to throw for over probably at least 320. I'm taking 2 TDs and a possible defensive score.
Ooh.
All right. Bobby?
Yeah, rolling with the Broncos. I think weather only helps that. You kind of limit Josh Allen and what he can do and how he can use James Cook. And if it turns into a physical game, we all know the Dolphins' strategy always was go into Buffalo and try to run it down their throat, and you can have success. I know Raheem Mostert always went off. HN always goes off against the Bills. If it turns into weather and even more physical, I think it helps the Broncos even more. So I'm going Broncos.
All on you, buddy.
You guys are going to hate this, but I'm going with the Buffalo Bills in this one. I'm writing that destiny story. If it's not Mahomes and it's not Lamar, I think Josh is just going to continue to find ways to win these games. I do think James Cook is going to have a big game in this game as well. I know that Broncos defense is really good, but I just think James Cook and Josh Allen combo is going to be enough for them to win games. And it's going to be close, but it's going to come down to a Josh Allen last guy with the ball in his hands, and we know what happens when Josh has the ball last. All right, next game. Let's jump into it. We got Seahawks and Niners. So we got a lot of different storylines here. One that has been floating out there that apparently got debunked yesterday in an article. But Bobby still believes that believes it to be true. Obviously, the Niners are very, very injured right now. Kittle coming off now in Achilles injuries. There's a long list of injuries on that team. But people are thinking that the Niners practicing next to the power plant are playing a huge factor into these injuries. What are your guys' thoughts?
I obviously, a part of me is like, that's crazy. But then the other part of me is like, they really do get injured a lot.
They do. They've been like the most injury-riddled team in the last 3 years.
Wait a second. All right, so, do I put much into that? I don't know, but holy cow, it's either a mix of bad luck or the power plant. Those are really my two only options right now. Because, dude, this team is really good, and they just beat the Super Bowl champs. As banged up as they are, of course they lose another star in Kittle. But man, at this point, I don't know how many more guys they can lose for them to be able to, keep this dream alive.
I mean, you got to credit that, man, because they keep finding ways to win with that team. I think they had one of their linebackers, Wingo. I'm sure you could kind of speak more in depth on this than I can, but one of their guys was pulled up from the practice squad, I think, going into that game, and actually had a pretty damn good game last week.
Next man up.
I mean, you got to credit what they've been able to do with the limited, I guess, resources and personnel on the field considering all the injuries they've had. I think they said they've had like 7 different linebackers start for them this year. But I don't think, like, as much as injuries have riddled them, it might catch up to them, and maybe it's this week where it catches up to them, but they still keep finding ways to win. And obviously, when you have McCaffrey on the offensive side, it's like you could do anything, right? I mean, they fed him in that game. And ultimately, he's just such a big difference maker. But Seattle's good. Seattle's good, man. Seattle's good.
Yeah, I definitely give a lot of credit to that front office, right? Something of what we're trying to get down here in Miami, hopefully someday. But when you look at it, right, on being on a successful team, it's about having depth and the system and the schemes that you run. You look at somebody like Mac Jones in the beginning of the year, being able to go in and command that offense and be very successful, and Brock Purdy coming back and be able to do the exact same thing and pick up right where he left off. So, that's what I look at, spreading the ball around to the different tight ends, getting the ball in Christian McCaffrey's hands, linebackers stepping up to play, that just shows what type of organization they are, over there at the 49ers. And now, that throws me right over when, the Dolphins were interviewing for GMs and certain things. There were 3 or 4 guys from the 49ers on that list, right? So now that's where I look at teams are realizing that, yes, they do have good players. Yes, they do have a lot of talent, but there's something else going on upstairs where that, organization has been able to be successful because of what they do, the depth they have, how they've been able to manage it, the schemes that they're running, and that's just them being successful. So, I think it's going to be a good game, but now kind of, what's over there on that other side with Seattle. So I'm excited to see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Bobby, real quick, too, I want to ask you, right? Sam Darnold last year takes the Vikings 13-3. They get the first-round bye last year as well. Right, there's that narrative as like, Sam Darnold has elevated his career, right? Kind of like the second phase of his career, has been successful in the regular season, but we saw what happened to him in the playoffs last year, right? It looked like he was seeing ghosts on the field, just wasn't the same Sam Darnold. I think the talent's there, but is there that narrative you think, like Sam Darnold's got to prove something this week to showcase that he can be the guy this week and to lead this team to a Super Bowl, right? Because we've seen it all year, regular season. At one point in the season, he was even an MVP candidate, right? But what do you expect out of Sam and this team going against a good 49ers team, even though depleted on defense?
Yeah, I think a lot of pressure is on, right? I mean, he's had his ups and downs. I think he's seen ghosts with the Jets, too. I think that's where that viral clip came from. Yeah. But a lot of pressure on Clint Kubiak, which we'll get into the the coaching carousel, but he's got to deliver the goods. He's got to put Sam Darnold in positions to be successful. One thing I like about Seattle is they like the Miami Hurricanes. They don't have Sam Darnold throw the ball 35 times. They go out there, they got 2-headed monster at the running back position. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play really physical defense. And Sam Darnold's going to take advantage of the opportunities he has. Obviously, JSN on the outside is a great weapon, and they use him well. I think just like the Hurricanes, you can't ask Sam Darnold to go carry you. You get down by 10, 15, not the best case. But I think Seahawks, I think could be crazy, could be laughing at me next week. I think they're different this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe, didn't they just beat the brakes off the Niners like 2 weeks ago?
They did, yeah.
So look, that could all go out the window. It's time to play playoff football. We know people step up and take it to that extra level, and some people don't. And Sam Darnold's got to prove that he can. But I really, much like the Broncos, that week off, healthy, things are kind of just going their way. And I believe the Seahawks will take care of business here.
Yeah, Seahawks defense has been really good this year. Obviously, they have the 2-headed running back room there where it's been really, really good between Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, right?
Charbonnet, yeah.
So I think they can lean on those guys as well, especially when you have that defense that they have. And like you said, Bobby, like this team feels different. It's built different than it's been built in the past. But I think, to me, this might be the game of the weekend. Like I'm really, really excited about this game. I think the 49ers are playing really well right now. McCaffrey's just another beast, right? And just seeing him on the field and what he's able to do compared to other people is insane. But Seattle's just been that team like all year, continuing to prove people wrong, continuing to say, hey, we are legit. Like we belong here as one of the elite teams in the NFL. So to me, this might be the game of the weekend, but there's a lot of good games. So who do we got?
I'll go first because I think I'm kind of on the opposite end of you. I think the Seahawks are kind of going to roll. So I've got 28-14 Seahawks.
Okay.
Yeah, I
like
definitely – my fault, Bobby. But
you're good.
I definitely think, it's going to be a close game. I think I'm going to give it to the Seahawks. I think I'm going to take Seattle. 24-17.
I love that we just seen Wingo live make his decision. Like he was like going one way and he realized, he thought about something and was like, you know what?
I was
He
thinking about
remembered the power
I
plant.
was thinking about the power
Do you remember? I was gonna say, funny story about the power plant. Our boy, friend of the podcast, Hayden Rucci got picked up by the 49ers this week.
I saw
They
that.
need some tight end depth. I was like, yo, little playoff push from the Dolphins in disaster to a little playoff ball.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, good luck, man. Just stay away from that damn power plant. So, yeah, no doubt. But yeah, I'm going with Seattle. I think it's close though. I think CMC, obviously, the Niners have been here so many times too. Like they know how to play playoff football. Shanahan knows how to coach playoff football. So I like it close. I like 27-21, 27-24. I like it close within a score, but I'm going Seahawks.
Yeah, I think people underestimate what it is like playing in Seattle. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago,
man.
it triggered like a minor earthquake in the city.
Yeah.
Like it
wild,
is
dude. That place is
electric and loud over there. And I do think that that's going to play a factor, as well as the fact that the 49ers are depleted in the linebacker room. They have some good running backs there, and I ultimately think that that'll be a difference. And I do expect Sam Darnold. I think he's going to throw for over 300 in a little 2 TD game for him. I'm rooting for him.
Cook 'em.
Let's go. All right. Next lineup, we got a power heavy defense.
I can't wait for this one.
And the Houston Texans versus the guys up there in the Northeast, the New England Patriots. This is a big one. This is a big one. We got
I'm ready for this
the
one.
Texans defense, right? That's the narrative around them. And what we saw last week, 2 defensive touchdowns versus Drake May and a pretty efficient offense in New England. So I know there's going to probably be a lot of takes in this. Dave, you seem very excited, so I'll start it off with you.
I am very excited for this game. I think this game is going to be great. I've seen nothing but, I mean, first off, before the playoffs started, I picked the Texans to be the guys out of the AFC. I still believe that. I still think that defense is the best in the league. And honestly, I'll say it. I don't care. The Patriots are on fraud alert, all right? I don't think the Pats are that good. I don't get it. I don't get this team. I don't think they're that good. I get they're well coached, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. I think the Texans are going to freaking expose these guys. I'm sick and tired of this Pats narrative, and I get it. Generational hater, I know. It's all my enemies are playing this weekend. I don't care. This is one that I actually believe in. Like, the Bills scare me. The Pats don't scare me, all right? I don't care what anybody says. I think the Texans are going to win this game. And if they don't, there's no way the Pats are getting anywhere further. I'm sick and tired of this damn team, all right? I don't think this team is good. I don't think this team is... Screw them. Like, man, fuck this team, man. I hate them. And I don't think they're good. I think they've gotten lucky and everything's fallen in their freaking perfect scenario. No, it ends here. Texans, baby. Texans roll. That defense is the best in the league.
I think they have one win against a team above 500, right? So, that's where Dave's leaning. But I see Wingo nodding his head over there in disarray, frustration, a lot of emotions over there. So, Wingo, tell Dave why the Patriots are not a fraud.
I'm honestly just looking at next week when we just get to clip that and just throw up the final score, because after the way that the Patriots played this past week, they made a lot more mistakes than they normally do. That is not going to happen this week. The Patriots are a complete team. They got a bunch of guys from Wisconsin that can come in and just dominate. Their head coach, I love that guy. That's a guy that you want to play for. That organization is special. I think Drake May is going to take care of business. Last week, they were turning the ball over. They had some penalties. That hasn't been, the narrative for the whole season, right? They had a little hiccup last week. They still got the job done. This upcoming week, I almost feel sorry for them, because I think the Patriots are going to come out and dominate. I think the Patriots are just, I think they're a really good team. I think they got a lot of weapons on offense. And Drake May's made a huge jump from year 1 to year 2, and I think that's going to continue to make him to be an electric quarterback in the future.
This is the Hondo Wingo Bowl, baby. I'm coming for Wingo's head, all right? Man, first, I know we're not doing predictions yet. I think this is going to be the most low-scoring game of all time, but I still think that I'm telling you, dude, the Patriots, like, I get it. They're not as terrible as they're making them seem, but I don't think they're as good as everyone else is making it seem. That's just my opinion. I don't get it. I don't see it. I think they're a product of some luck and I think this Texans defense is going to lock down this weekend.
Bobby,
Yeah,
are they overrated or are they correctly rated?
Yeah, I think Hondo made some totally rational, totally
In
rational.
my Dolphins
even,
polo.
Nico Collins.
Yeah.
Also
No Nico Collins, right?
well, he's in concussion protocol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, I do think that's going to play into it. That's a big part. Nico's out. Stroud, as good as the Texans look, it wasn't because of Stroud. I think Christian Kirk really came through a few times for them, made some big plays, had obviously I think he had almost as many receiving yards that game as he did for the season.
Yeah.
So Christian Kirk really came through and delivered. And obviously when the defense is playing like that, things kind of roll your way. But I really think it was overlooked how bad the offense really played until the very end there. So CJ Stroud's got to step up for me to really believe in those boys. As good as that defense is, that's what I think is going to hold them back when it's all said and done. Because I think the playoffs really comes down to defense. But like we were saying about Josh Allen, when you have the right guy behind the wheel, a lot of things go your way. And I don't know if CJ Stroud is ready for that. But I'll also agree. I think I used to be the hater that go, well, look at the schedule. Look at the schedule. And then it just kept winning, and they just kept winning, and then they beat good teams. And I was like, oh, okay, the Vrabel really did turn this shit around in 1 year. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how really good that defense is. I think the Patriots have the advantage here. I do believe, I agree with Wingo, they have a more overall better team. It has been exciting, though, to see the Texans, play the way they do, send Aaron Rodgers into retirement in a neck brace, basically. So that was cool. But yeah, I think the Patriots, they're a fine old machine, and everything's clicking at the right time.
I understand what you guys are saying. That I get it, and all takes are extremely valid here, very valid. But kind of leaning on both sides here, right? Patriots, Drake May, very good. Drake May's been extremely efficient. Could make the argument that he could be the MVP, although it's probably going to be Stafford. May has definitely had a case to be the MVP of the NFL this year. But what's interesting to me, right, you look at last week, that Chargers team was in shambles. That offensive line, shambles. So it's hard to really gauge, what the Patriots can do against a defense like the Houston Texans. To me, what it's going to come down to is Stroud had 3 turnovers last week. If he plays like that, they have 0 chance of winning this game. But if Stroud is efficient, takes care of the ball, and they just run the ball and he's able to be efficient, maybe a guy like Nico Collins comes into the fold and their offense can kind of be as fully healthy as possible in this game, I really do think that Houston can go in there and win that game. That defense really is just at another level, can score, can force turnovers. Can they rattle Drake May in this environment where he's never really kind of played at this caliber of a game, although it is at home for them? I do think that Houston can go in there and shock people, and I could see this game being like a 23-20 type game and just enough. I do think there's going to be scoring. I do not think it's going to be like a 6-3 game.
Wait till you get to my prediction.
I do think that there will be enough scoring. It will be a lot of defense. There will be 3 and outs. But I do think Houston is actually going to win the turnover battle, and that's going to be the difference in the game.
Yeah. If we're doing predictions, I'll jump right
roll
in.
into it. Yeah.
I actually got something for you guys before we go into predictions.
Oh.
I got a team photo from Houston Texans practice this week. I don't know how accurate this is, but this is the photo I got.
My Raptors, baby! They're my Raptors, and
That's the Houston defense going to work right there.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's so good.
Raptors with machine guns. I know, man.
They're coming, baby. Those are my Texans, and that's
Shout
why.
out Lou, baby.
Yes, that is why my score is going to be 3-0. Houston Texans win this game. All right, I don't care. No, they're going to first off shut out the Patriots.
We're going to get so many clips out of this guy next week.
They're going to shut. And yeah, the offense doesn't even need to do anything. Guess what? The 3 is going to be off a pick that they're going to return to the 5-yard line, and Houston's going to kick a field goal. That's what this game's going to be. I think. Listen, I saw somebody post in the chat that Houston playing in the cold. The one thing that does travel is defense.
Yep.
Defense travels. All right. I don't need a high-scoring game. If this is a high-scoring game, I'm losing. All right. I'm going to throw that out there right now. But if this is a low-scoring game, give me the Texans, man. I swear to God, it's going to be 3-0 Texans.
Yeah, all the memes and all the clips that we're gonna have of him, he's gonna have to be the dude of the week next week.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
Well,
Bring it on.
Joe Robbie just
it on.
commented that he's going to be living on freezing cold takes next week. So
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Listen, I'll tell you what. The chat agrees with me. There's a poll going around. They say Pat's overrated 71% of them. So, listen, let's go chat, baby. The Hondo Hive is building.
Oh my God. Look, I do. First of all, let me say that I'm gonna give my prediction, but I want to stop and say this real quick, boys. We're having fun, dude. This is awesome.
yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That we definitely
Pooch,
are.
Pooch, you are absolutely in your bag. Chat, make sure you're showing Pooch love.
Oh, yeah.
Pooch, you are working, my guy.
Yes.
You are working. Dude, the
Everyone spam
dinosaurs, I was
Pooch
not prepared.
in the chat.
Yes,
Listen, man,
Pooch.
outside of Wingo's comment getting stuck, dude, we've been having a good time back here. I don't know how that happened. It's a glitch in the system. We're still working out the kinks. We're
It
getting
knows what it wants
we're
to
getting some oil, oil in the gears. First show go around, but it's been smooth, man. It's fun back here. It's fun,
Oh, yeah.
locked in. Get to do a couple fun things back here, but it's a blast. I'm having a lot of fun.
You're doing awesome, dude. This is so awesome.
yeah.
But with that being said, into the prediction. Yeah, I like the Patriots. They're at home, and then they got a better overall team. I really do, and I don't think their defense is bad. So
No.
I know we're stuck on the Texans defense, but Christian Gonzalez is going to be good. He's out of the red no contact jersey. Looks like he's going to clear concussion protocol. He's a dog on the outside. Those boys are humming up front too for them. They got some dogs in the middle. So I think they got enough, and then they got the offense to go with it. I think they got the offense the Texans don't have, and especially losing Nico Collins, the worst thing they needed right now. Yeah, I like the Patriots this week.
I like it. All right. House divided here. Next game and last game, another epic game. We got the Rams versus Bears. You want to talk about weather. The weather in Chicago is absolutely absurd. I don't know if you guys have seen some of those videos. Obviously we're down here in South Florida, so we don't experience snow. We experience hurricanes. What's happening in Chicago looks like a winter hurricane, basically. It's insane. I don't know if that's what's going to be like on game day. I hope not, because I don't know how that's playable. But, dude, that weather's going to be a factor in that game. So I guess I'll lead off. Go, Bobby. Shoot.
Before we get into it, though,
Yeah.
can we all agree, though, that last week was false advertisement? And I think I have a lawsuit claim. They posted all those videos of the blizzard and the snow. And somehow when kickoff came, there wasn't a drop anywhere. It was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
I think they definitely lean into that. And I think something similar. I think they're projecting minus 10 degrees come game time.
We've been colder.
Yeah, we have. Kansas City, baby. And about 20-mile-an-hour winds. So obviously wind chill effect will be a factor as well. But I don't think any snow or any heavy snow is going to be a play. But I guess the big question obviously in this game, obviously Rams, electric kind of comeback win last week against the Carolina Panthers, which shout out Carolina Panthers, bro. 10.5-point dogs at home. The level of disrespect that they gave the Carolina Panthers, and they held their own. Bryce Young held their own. Shout out them, man. A lot of exciting things. I'm not a Carolina Panther fan, but I think it was just disrespectful what they did to them last week. Rams obviously came out with the victory either way. But going into this game, Rams are Southern Cal team, play in the Dome. How are they going to fare in Chicago? Caleb Williams, obviously coming off a monster, also comeback win in Chicago, massive comeback. So, Wingo, what do you think of the Rams going into Chicago, weather being a factor, and the dynamic of, the OG versus new school, right? We got the OG and Sean McVay and Stafford, and then new school and Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. It is a pretty dope narrative going into this game.
Yeah, exactly. And you're asking how LA is going to go in there and be dominant. They're not. Matthew Stafford is getting old. I think, when you look at it, playing in that type of weather, people say that weather's not a factor, but I think it definitely is. I think Caleb Williams is going to get after it. Ben Johnson, he's been doing an amazing job. I saw the press conference after, Caleb Williams giving the game ball to Ben Johnson, the way that team's bought in and is just, built to win now, right? It's great to see that offense and Caleb Williams take charge of that. And then you look at a guy like Matt Stafford. Don't get me wrong, Matthew Stafford is complete. He is the guy. He's been my fantasy quarterback all season long. He has been dominant. I think he's an MVP candidate. But, I just think playing in that weather is going to be a big factor. The Bears defense has been playing pretty well. Keenan Allen, it's great to see him out there again, but can he kind of play in that same kind of weather? And I just think overall the Bears are going to, finally get over the hump, get it to that next level of play and move on from this game. I think they're going to finish off with another win and another game ball. This time, Ben Johnson now giving it to Caleb Williams.
I cannot wait to clip Wingo after this one, baby. All right, I'm rolling with the Rams partially because my last remaining future bet that I took months ago is the Rams. I think the Rams have been, my opinion, probably not. You can say the Seahawks, right? I think the Rams have been just as good as them in terms of probably the best team in the NFL. I agree with Wingo though in terms of the weather does scare me a little bit, and the fact that the Bears just can't lose. They win in such ridiculous ways. Yeah. And the Rams, you saw against the Panthers, if they're playing a little tight game there or see the Bears coming back, I'm going to be a little nervous, but I'm still rolling with the Rams. I'm rocking with Stafford. I think this is his, I don't know if it's send-off here because I don't know if he's retiring or not, but in terms of dude, he should be the MVP. He can go off into the sunset with another Super Bowl, 2-time Super Bowl winning MVP. I think it's almost a perfect story. So I'm rocking with the Rams and partially biased. I've got a future on them. So I need them to win, all right?
I've always been taught to never gamble or bet on emotion. And
that's all I do, Wingo.
Yeah.
That's actually, if you look up the definition of gambling with your heart, there's a picture of me right next to it. And so I can't help myself. I do it, and I roll with it, baby. That's just me.
Wingo and David have this Jekyll and Hyde dynamic going on.
100%.
Yeah.
Bobby, what are your thoughts? Obviously, we got Wingo over here saying Stafford's going to freeze out there. He's the MVP most likely. What do you think?
Yeah, as Dolphin fans, we kind of gotta show some respect to that cold weather thing. When you're not used to it, it does change things. I do think that the Rams were, like David said, one of the few juggernauts of the year. They lost people in times and nothing really changed. They just kept rolling. I think they've been here before. Having Stafford, a guy that's been at the wheel so long, seen so much, that helps a ton. McVay's been there, Super Bowl champion. It helps a lot. But on the other hand, the Bears came out and kind of got slapped in the face a little bit. I think they've had their dose of reality check, and they're kind of ready now. So I think this will be a very good game. I think it definitely helps being in cold weather to help the Bears a little bit there. And they're kind of locked in now because they realize that they're not untouchable and teams can get up on you quick and they dodge that bullet. Obviously, respect to Caleb Williams. He's impressed me. I think I thought that kid was a bust, and he's overachieved by a large margin. Absolutely. Him and Ben Johnson have been special. What Ben Johnson has been for that kid is amazing to watch. So excited to see that some more. I'm going to go with the Rams, though. I think the Rams do, as much as we don't want to admit it, have a good physical style play. They got two running backs like the Seattle Seahawks that they can lean on if they need to. They got tight ends. They can get nasty. They can get heavy set on you. So I like the Rams, but yeah, I think it'll be a good game, though.
Yeah, I saw comments in the section saying that this might be the game of the weekend, too. So yeah. I definitely can see that. But before we and I'll give my pick real quick, too. Dave, man, is got to head out here. So, yes. Dave, appreciate you. We'll be having Joe come in very shortly to come in as our fourth here. But
yes. No, before I head out, 1, go Rams. 2, this has been awesome, boys. Can't wait to do this every single Friday. If you're tuning in, keep tuning in. These boys are going to keep cooking. I unfortunately got to leave early today, but, let the boys cook. Guys being dudes. It's been an awesome first episode. I love chopping it up with the boys.
Let's go.
Later, everybody.
David, when you get to that office, make sure you get on and start, working the live chat.
I'm going to be driving.
You're still on the clock.
Maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to be driving, watching, commenting. Who knows? But hey, guys being dudes, episode 1. Let's freaking go.
Let's go. I'm going to throw my pick in here real quick as Dave's kind of heading out. I do like the – ooh, wow, you just zapped the shit out of me. I do like the Rams this weekend for the sake of winning. I think the veteran in Stafford is going to be enough to kind of find the way to win. Sean McVay is a beast of a coach. Ben Johnson is doing a hell of a job this year. But when you're going against the OGs and the new schools, you got to go and find a way to win, and that's why I got the OGs this time around. But I am actually rooting for the Bears to win. So either way, I'm locked in and excited for that game. I do agree that this might be the game of the week. So Bobby, do we want to bring in Joe now? We want to do our early Super Bowl picks before this round. So let me know. We can wait on Joe to come in, or we can roll into our Super Bowl picks.
Yeah, I think that's a producer question. If he's locked in, we can bring him. But
Pooch, is he locked
I
in?
do not see Mr. Joe yet.
Okay.
He's not logged in yet, but the minute he is, we can roll. And in the
Okay.
meantime, I put myself in the box.
Oh.
So I can join the party.
there we go.
Just to fill in the space, I like to show the graphic. I like
Yeah,
to
yeah,
show the whole graphic. I want
100%.
to make sure it's in there. But no, yeah, we're just waiting on Joe right now.
All good. Let's jump into our Super Bowl picks then while we wait on Joe. Obviously, Joe's got his little bit to chime in. But before we do, want to go and get your guys' Super Bowl picks. Obviously, we got a slate of some good games. I think we've all kind of shown who we're going to pick this week. But who do we have in the Super Bowl, and who do we have as our Super Bowl winner? So, Pooch, let's start with you. Let us know who you got in the Super Bowl and winning it
Damn.
all this year.
And it's crazy because just now, we got a Joe on the cam.
Oh, Joe's
We got
here.
Joe. We got Joe. Stand by for Joe. Stand by for Joe.
Look at
But
that timing.
as I'm getting ready for his approach, I think I'm going to ride. Man, it's tough because there's a lot of good teams, but I really like the Seahawks this year.
Seahawks to
I like
win it
the
all?
Seahawks. I think the
Who
Seahawks
are
are
they
gonna win it
facing
all
in the
this year.
Super Bowl?
Seahawks, Broncos.
Seahawks Broncos. Little
Got a
rematch,
Seahawks-Broncos
right?
matchup.
That was a Super Bowl a couple years ago?
Yeah, I think,
No, was it?
the Seahawks. Russell Wilson beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. It was Seahawks and Broncos, and the Seahawks murdered the Broncos, and the Broncos came back and beat the Panthers in the Super Bowl to give Manning
Yeah.
his Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But yes, there was a Seahawks-Broncos Super Bowl, I
right.
believe, like 2013, 2012, around there. No, like 2013, 2014.
All right.
But it wasn't too long ago. But those are my picks.
Very nice. Wingo, let me know. What do we got?
Yeah, so, I think the game is going to come from the AFC. I think, the Patriots are going to play the Broncos. I think that's going to be the game that, is going to be huge. But, coming from the other side, I think, either it's going to be Bears or Seattle. I'm going to have to go with Seattle beating the Bears and then ended up playing the Broncos. So I'm taking Seattle and the Broncos, and Broncos kind of coming through and winning.
Nice. Gonna ride. Go. Oh, my bad, Bobby. Go for it.
No, it's all good. I feel like I got to be different because I was kind of leaning Seahawks Broncos vibe, but man, I think you can't count Josh Allen out. Them boys could get hot. The Patriots are solid. I do like the Seahawks right now, but I think that the Rams could get there again. So I'll go Rams, and I'll go Bills. I'll go Bills and Rams. I think when it's all said and done, the quarterback position matters more than anything. And Josh Allen and Matt Stafford, they've seen everything. They've been here before. So I think Rams, Bills, Super Bowl matchup, it would be awesome if, the Rams can win that. Maybe Josh Allen gets his first. Hate to say that, but at some point it's got to happen. Maybe that's what lifts the curse in Miami is the Bills finally winning the Super Bowl. So we'll go with that. But Stafford riding off into the sunset, also a very cool story.
Yeah. Yeah, the Bills is interesting, obviously, considering, like we talked about earlier, Josh not having to go against the Mahomes, not having to go against the Lamar, really more Mahomes than anything, right? And Andy Reid, and that always kind of being Josh's kryptonite. I do see a path for the Bills, but before they get there, they're going to have to face the Velociraptor AK's defense in the Houston Texans, and I'm going to ride with that. That was my pick earlier on this year. Give me the Houston Texans and that defense making it to the Super Bowl this year against the Rams. But unfortunately, the Houston Texans will not be able to get it done in the Super Bowl. Unless C.J. Stroud can come out and hoop, I'm going to have to go with the Rams in winning the Super Bowl this year. I just felt like it was always going to be someone from the NFC this year. Rams. We got Dave commenting Rams. There you go, Dave. That's for you. But yeah. Joe, if we got Joe in, let's chime him in.
We got Joe. There he is.
There he is. Joe Robbie, the man
Fellas.
himself.
Oh,
Welcome
no.
to the first episode of Guy Being Dudes.
Dude,
You got part of
guys, dudes,
Can't hear him.
This is awesome.
You can't hear him?
Can you guys hear him?
Just all
I hear
messed
him.
up.
He's robotic.
Yeah, he's a little slow and
I've been all my life.
I can't hear him.
All right, stand by.
Stand by, Joe. Stand by. We can get into a little bit of coaching carousel here with the boys. A lot of, I think something interesting is, there's a lot of coordinators playing in the playoffs right now, right, that have potential to be head coaches. So I think, one of the big ones is, Kubiak, Salah, and they're actually playing against each other this weekend. So what are your guys' thoughts on current coaching carousel right now? Obviously, some guys are not playing right now. Some guys are playing. Harbaugh obviously just signed with the New York Giants. I don't know if that's official yet. I mean, everything is pointing that, they're just working out the official deals there. But, obviously Harbaugh to the Giants. So talk about the whole overarching carousel. Wingo, we'll start with you and just kind of your overall thoughts on what you're hearing, kind of where do you think teams are going to be heading, and then the existing coordinators that are playing now, where do they kind of end up in all of this?
Yeah, so looking at it, it's almost like there's a transfer portal now in the NFL coaching world, right? I think it's over 25% of the NFL head coaches that don't have jobs, right? They're looking for new jobs, taking interviews. So it's crazy to see, and it's cool to see the guys that are still coaching as offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and getting those interviews, and then have the chance and opportunity to prove themselves on a Sunday. So it's amazing to see. One of the ones I loved is John Harbaugh going to the Giants. When you look at him, being paired with a quarterback like Jackson Dart, I think that I look at Jackson Dart and he's a dog. I think he's a guy who can throw the football downfield, he can rush, and I'm mixing almost of a Lamar Jackson and a Joe Flacco together, right? What could that look like? Hopefully Scatterbo's back to just electrify that offense. But yeah, there's so many different coaches that are out there now that are taking these interviews, and you got to look at, are they coming from a team that's successful in a program and an organization that is running things the right way and bringing them in to have their own kind of structure of what they're running it, or are they going to just kind of take from what they're already doing somewhere else? And I think, when you look at that, when you're taking guys that are bringing their own, it hasn't been very successful. When you're taking someone from a successful organization, they're allowed to now bring that platform, mold it to the guys that they have around them, and that's how you win football games. So I think, just looking at all these coaches that are out there, I think there's NFL head coaches that are going to be demoted now that are going to be OCs or DCs. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of offense and defensive coordinators that are going to be promoted to get that next opportunity to be a head coach.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, I think a lot of people used to be so scared of getting the first-time coordinator, the first-time head coach, and kind of thinking it was too much. But then you look around the league this year, you got, Cohen with the Jaguars, straight to the playoffs, incredible season. Ben Johnson still in the playoffs, rookie coach. And then you got McDonald with the Seahawks, incredible season again. So I think it can be done. I think a lot of people maybe have a bad taste, especially down here in South Florida with the McDaniel thing, first-time head coach. He was a run game coordinator. He wasn't an offensive coordinator when we got him. But I think it can be done. I think if you have the right situation and the right infrastructure and a good, collaborative effort in that building, and hopefully you have that now that John Eric Sullivan's in Miami, you can go with the first-time head coach. And I think you can do that. Obviously, I think Harbaugh's going to the Giants. I think right now, you're probably looking at Stefanski headed to Atlanta, if I had to guess. Then the last piece would be Saleh, who's had a head coaching experience. Other than that, you're probably looking at a first-time head coach, and that's just what it is. It's going to be a lot of jobs taken by first-time head coaches. So, yeah, I think you can roll the dice and do that. You just got to get the right guy. At the end of the day, it comes down to getting the right guy. And can he build the staff and how he builds his staff? I think I like a lot of these guys a lot better once and if I know who they got across the ball from them. So definitely possible.
I got an interesting question actually for you guys, and it could be a dumb question, could be a great question, but I think it's at least worth asking, right? Tomlin, right? Tomlin's not going to coach us here. Yeah, it was a sad exit there in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you guys saw, guys were crying in the locker room. Obviously, he's a legend, been very successful at Pittsburgh. Is there any way that some teams that might need a coach right now are thinking, well, I know Tomlin's going to be available next year at some capacity, even though the Steelers own the rights. Are they maybe willing to wait, bring in I don't want to call it like a temporary coach because I don't want to downgrade someone that might get hired, but are teams thinking about that? I know that I need a guy now, but I know Tomlin will be available next year and I can hypothetically try to go get him. Is that an approach that teams will take, do take in these type of situations. Obviously, we saw something similar with Sean Payton in Denver. They actually traded for him. So curious to get what your guys' thoughts and take is on that.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely too much of a gamble. That's just something you can't do.
Yeah.
You know, him having the opportunity, you know, I say opportunity because he's had such a successful career. Right? He has now time to reflect. He has time to sit back after 19 successful seasons, right? You know, spend time with his family, figure out, you know, how can he stay around sports after sports, right? And I think, you know, I don't think a team can gamble the fact of taking a guy expecting to get him after in the following year. I think it's just too much of a gamble. You want to win football games now. You want to have a plan. Obviously, you plan for the future, and that's what you're doing with your draft picks and, you know, your cap space and how you're moving around money. But I just think it's too much of a gamble. I don't think it'll be done. You know, I think he's going to take some time off. You know, will he come back to coaching? That's another question. Is he even going to come back to
Fair.
You know, coaching on a team, being a coordinator, a head coach? You know, I could see him being an amazing broadcaster or someone who likes to talk about sports, give his takes, talk about football, hang out with guys like J.J. Watt and, you know, just have fun on Sundays talking about it. You know, it's a lot less stress.
Yeah.
You see these guys enjoying it and they're not having to go out there, and it's a lot less of a time commitment. You think about, you know, his family. You think about 19 seasons. He's been doing the same thing on repeat over and over, right? 5 a.m. to 10, 12 at night. And it's, you know, he's done a lot. He's been very successful. He should be proud of that. And, you know, I just don't think a team's going to wait that long to possibly have the opportunity to have him as head coach.
Yeah, great
Also,
point
wanna interject
there
real
too.
quick. We got Joe. Joe is with us right now. I'm gonna bring him on the screen for you guys, and he is active now.
Oh, boy. He's crispy in the whip. Crispy in the whip.
Hey, he said, I ain't missing this damn show. I'll jump in the car and drive down the road.
Bobby,
He's been
you know what
waiting
they
patiently for
say
you
by
guys too.
any
He's been
means
waiting
necessary.
patiently.
Mobile
Go ahead, Joe.
Is everything clear now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're back on Earth.
Because do I have some bones to pick with you boys?
Uh-oh.
We're gonna go ahead and start from the top real quick.
Let's do it.
My Miami Hurricane. The disrespect on this show is actually, first of all, it's warranted because we haven't won in 20 years.
Thank God
so
for
I
me,
get
brother,
it.
because that would be all,
There we go.
all slander.
But brother,
Let's be honest here. It was
first
for
of
me,
all,
it'd be
we're going
slander.
to Pooch. It's so easy. We're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. Okay, they had a pretty tough time with Ohio State. Okay, and we dominated Ohio State's front seven. Okay, on both sides of the ball too. Now, not only are we going to do that, the key to my victory is Carson Beck. Unfortunately, Indiana does have a great team. Cannot deny that. With that being said, we're going to have Carson Beck have one of those games. Because unfortunately, Indiana's going to take away the run. So it's going to be on Carson Beck and Shannon Dawson to really cook. So I am interested to see how they do that. And as far as the third leg of my keys to victory, I have to say it's going to be the penalties and the turnovers. We dominated Ole Miss. Absolutely dominated them. We kept them in the game only from penalties and turnovers. It's that simple, guys.
I think missed opportunity as well. You know, they had a lot of opportunities to have more turnovers, right? There was a lot of dropped interceptions. I think there's a few missed throws. Malachi Toney down the middle. You know, there was a few that kind of got away from him. So I really think, you know, if Miami needs to capitalize on those plays, there can't be any dropped interceptions. There can't be, there just can't be that. They got to be successful. Carson Beck's got to play elite, and that's going to be that.
Also, real quick on that, too, the game, that was one of the, I guess, like, not clean games that UM had played in the playoffs, right? Throughout the year, they had been very penalized, right? A lot of pre-snap penalties, just penalties throughout the year, that holding penalties, right? All these different penalties that kind of would hurt drives, for UM and maybe either blow up the score, maybe win games against like Louisville, SMU. And we saw a little bit about in that game against Ole Miss, right? And that's really what the dropped interceptions for sure were a factor, but some of those penalties definitely played a factor into kind of blowing that game up for UM, right? Like they probably could have won that game by a lot. If they do that against Indiana, Indiana is notorious for taking advantage of mistakes by other teams. So I will say that UM has definitely proved that they deserve to be here. Their defense has been elite. They have controlled the line of scrimmage pretty much in every game that they've played. But to Joe, your point, Indiana is a very good team. And if Miami does have those pre-snap penalties and they do get big plays called back on holding calls, it could be a long day for Miami.
And listen, I do agree, but you have to also remember that we're at home. This is unprecedented territory for us. This has never happened in the CFP. This has never happened in any bowl game. So I think that people are really overlooking that. And Miami's notorious for their fans really, really rallying when we're winning. It's just the Miami culture. If our teams are winning, bro, people are hanging off the streetlights. It's just the way it is. Teams aren't winning. We're at Club Live. We're taking brunch on Sundays. Like, it's just the way that it's the city, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that we're going to do a good job of packing that stadium. I do feel like Indiana fans probably can't afford that kind of $6,000 ticket. Maybe.
Gee.
You know? I mean, hey, it's $6,000 in Indiana is not $6,000 in South Florida, brother. I think that's going to be a big thing. I mean, even if it's a close game, I have us winning 24-20. I think it's going to be a close game. I do think we're going to have a Carson Beck touchdown to win the game. I just see the vision. The signs are in front of me. But yeah, I'm nervous. They're a fucking awesome team. They're a great team. They're all 35 years old. They already are collecting Social Security. Like, this is going to be tough. We're playing men.
I will say this. Miami has an advantage being at home as far as the crowd goes, clearly. Hopefully you can leave your house and go across the street to the stadium. But I will say this. I was very impressed by how Indiana traveled last week.
Bro, you would think, right? Hometown, but yeah, ticket prices are expensive. Pooch, I know you could talk on this a little bit too, but season ticket holders and future season ticket holders didn't necessarily get tickets, right? I mean, a lot of guys missed out on the window of opportunity to be able to get tickets to the game at an affordable price. And that's going to play a factor, right? And there's even rumors that Indiana fans were actually buying into the UM booster program to then get qualified, I guess, to get access
boy behavior
to these tickets. But also to that point, Indiana has the largest alumni base out of any college in the United States. So it is like there is a big possibility that a lot of Indiana fans will be there. And I will say a heavy chunk of them, 800 of them to be specific, will be Fernando Mendoza's family, actually, because he's got a massive family.
Dímelo.
I will add too.
I'll give my 2
Let's
cents.
not overlook the fact that all of a sudden.
Go ahead, Bobby.
All right.
My bad, Bobby.
No, you're good. I keep forgetting about the producer. Go ahead.
Essentially, man, the tickets, the way that it was through the Ticket Association, it was completely mishandled. I think that season ticket owners through 2025 should have gotten first dibs on those tickets. They had a chance before the playoffs to reserve tickets throughout the whole entire playoffs, but obviously people don't want to jinx. They don't want to be like, let me get my tickets for the Natty just in case we go. You don't want to be the jinx, right? But essentially what happened is as the weeks kind of got closer, people kept on reserving to a point that they ran out of their stockpile. They had a draw a couple days ago to try to get into that draw, to try to get a last amount of tickets, but it was a shit show. People that you have to renew your tickets for 2026. If you donated $100, you get into the draw. No one knows how much really their tickets were, but essentially they ran out right away. I almost got a chance to get in there. I got into the queue. I was one of the last people to get into the space where you can buy the ticket. And essentially said, we're sold out. That's it. It was done.
Pooch, I got a good idea for you, bro. Pooch, I got a really good idea. How are you at shucking oysters?
Brother, let me tell you, man. I haven't shucked one, but I can give it a try, man. I'm always open to new experiences.
Me and you just shucking, bro. Shuck if you buck, brother. I'm in. Because if you think I'm paying $6,000 to go watch football, you're out your mind.
Yeah, it's crazy. Would you do it for the fans, though, real quick? Would you?
Oh, I would donate a kidney, brother. Like, hey, listen,
everybody has their weakness.
I had a baby daughter. Like, listen, baby, this week maybe mom's gonna breastfeed a little more. No formula.
I think an interesting thing to remember too right now is kind of funny to me that Mark Cuban is in the fold and so excited to spend his money now. I never even knew he was involved with Indiana at all, but now they got the rhythm, they got the popularity, and now Mark Cuban's on the sideline. So he's throwing that money around. I'm sure he could get a couple extra 1,000 fans in the stadium.
Yeah, no, that's a damn fact. That's a damn fact.
All right, let me see here.
I mean, you know what? Hold on. Before
Go
we
for
go
it.
further, you know what? The bottom line is we've been playing away the whole time. So who cares?
Yeah.
Let's play ball.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. All right,
Joe, we gave our Super Bowl picks. So who do you got? Obviously, we got a big slate this weekend. A lot of good games.
Yes.
Who do you got making it to the Super Bowl and winning Super Bowl this year?
So I was able to listen to all your takes. Pretty damn good. It seems there's a consensus going. I'm going against the grain a little bit. I do feel like Chicago's a team of destiny. It's one of those years where the NFL was just a weird year in the NFL, right? It was just one of those awkward years. And I feel like it's going to be Chicago and Denver. I do feel like the Patriots will roll this weekend. I do feel like Derek brought up a really, really good point with the weather this weekend. Stafford's old bones, he don't want to deal with that. If the game's not in Chicago, the Rams probably win 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Right, Derek?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, man. Dude, that's disgusting weather. Like the wind chill. I mean, they're going to have to rely on Kyron Williams, and he really hasn't done much lately.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
So that's where I'm at. Yeah. So I got Chicago, Denver, and I got Chicago winning the Super Bowl.
Holy moly. Can you imagine the
Yep.
new school
Yep.
coming in and winning Super Bowl, first year head coach? Caleb's first time in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah, Caleb's first time in the playoffs and then going and win the Super Bowl. I agree. This year in the NFL has been strange. So, why not add to the narrative of just unorthodox things happening in the NFL and teams that historically have not been in here are now in here, right? Like anything could happen, and I think that's the beauty of it. And playing in Chicago, I mean, we haven't seen many playoff games, in this common era hosted in Chicago, right? So we know how much weather is going to be a factor this week. So why not?
why not the Bears? Why not the Bears?
Joe, another take while we got you on here. PGA Tour started this week, actually yesterday. A tournament started up in Hawaii. Second tournament, first tournament was actually canceled due to irrigation issues on the course. So they're actually starting a week later, but we have officially kicked off. But one of the big news stories on tour and in golf was the Brooks Koepka news, right? Brooks obviously took the big deal to go to LIV. That was a whole kind of shit show at the time when all these guys were taking a ton of money to go over there and join LIV. And it was pretty much like there's no path for you to come back to the PGA Tour. Fast forward a couple years, here we are, and Brooks Koepka is joining back into the PGA Tour. You got current players that are happy about it. You got current players that are pretty upset about it. Wyndham Clark, which I know we got his quote here, had something to say. So, Joe, let me know what your kind of thoughts are on this. Obviously, I have my take on this, and I'm sure all of you guys got a take on this. But Wyndham was obviously understanding of the situation, but not necessarily very, very happy about it. You know, saying he gets to eat, what was it? Something about eating cake and basically being able to come back, right? So give me your
Get your
kind
cake and eat it too.
Yeah, exactly. So give me kind of your take on that situation.
I mean, man, it's great for the sport, right? I do feel like there's a bold take, but LIV almost broke golf.
Yeah.
Right. In my humble opinion, I do feel like if the LIV Tour was really as successful as they thought it would be, that the PGA Tour would dissolve to something that nobody even really watches anymore. And let's be real, I didn't really even follow LIV golf, right? So the crazy part is Brooks coming back. Not only did he get a sweet deal, like I think he didn't rob them. Obviously, they came up with the terms, but the terms were friendly, and I think they're doing that to bait other guys to come back, right?
Yes.
Because golf is best when there's one tour, right? And you get to see it when you see all of the main events, right? Augusta and PGA Championship and all that. And it's cool because like you get to go, oh shit, when the majors are here, we get to see everybody play together. Yeah, this is fucking golf.
Oh yeah.
This is golf, right? So I think Brooks trickling back is going to start this little domino effect of the PGA growing again. And honestly, because the PGA has fallen a little bit, I feel like YouTube golf has gotten really popular. So it's crazy how that kind of, they took that initiative, the YouTube golfers, to like give you something to watch. Because let's be honest, sorry, Wyndham Clark, nobody really cares to watch Wyndham Clark. You could have went, but we wouldn't even notice you went to live, brother. We wouldn't even notice you went. So that's just where I'm at.
I will say this, I do think live expedited changes that needed to happen on the tour, right? The PGA, not to say that they became complacent, but there was no real direct competition, right? So it's like, if you want to watch golf, you're going to watch golf because we got the guys and we got no one to compete with, right? But the problem was the YouTube golfs of the world, and just like the evolution of content and the golf opportunity, there was no true scalability for the tour, right? Fast forward to live in that area, right? You got guys like Phil Mickelson trying to be a voice of reason on tour, and the tour just didn't really want to do a lot of change at the time. So he's like, screw it. Liv comes into life, and Phil's like, I'm jumping on that ship. And so did a lot of other guys. Mind me, a lot of those guys like the John Rahms of the world, Brooks, right, were probably more wanting to stay on the tour and figure it out there. But when you get thrown the amount of cash that you got thrown, it's going to be almost impossible to say no. I mean, who the hell is going to say no? Dustin Johnson, right? Which Dustin had the opportunity also, with this window that the PGA opened to go back. And Dustin actually just signed an extension to stay with Liv for a couple more years. So there's still going to be a divide there. Cam Smith came out saying he's committed to Liv. John Rahm, we don't really know where that's going to go. We'll see. He's a guy that I can see coming back. But reality is the PGA needs all these guys together. Golf just needs all these guys together. And I do think that there is going to be a change of landscape. I don't know if you guys know this, but they hired a new CEO who's actually a former executive at the NFL, right? So he's going to bring in a lot of the ideologies of how the NFL operates, how they choose, to kind of grow the game there, which will be interesting. So we'll see. Golf is back. Having Brooks back on the tour is great, but Brooks also has to play better. He wasn't playing well on Liv. He needs to kind of get back to being that guy that dominated at majors, kind of was like always in contention in the big tournaments. So we're hoping that as he comes back, he can actually still continue to be that guy, right? Because that's only how this is all going to work for him.
Yeah, it's almost like he hopped in the transfer portal and then just kind of went right back. But I look at it, I had the opportunity last year to go to a PGA event as well as a Live event. And I'll tell you what, man, when we were walking around at the Live event, guys were just following Brooks. They were just following, some of the other guys, and it wasn't enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
It was just crowds and crowds of people following around one singular guy. And then I got to go to the PGA event, and that thing was amazing, right? The different, there was so much talent over there, and guys that were just, following each other and being able to be a part of, the birdie shacks and all that fun stuff where you get to enjoy and watch, golf. It wasn't spread out, and I genuinely think you're right about talking about the money, right? If you're getting thrown $500 million, I might go pick rocks up off the street. I'm going to find a way to get it done. But when you look at, that sport, they love what they do. They love to golf. Accepting the money for a little while and then getting back into, hey, let's dial it back in. Let's play some real golf here and let's compete. And I think that's over at the PGA. I think, the Live idea was great, but, I would love to see a change in Live golf to be able to make it, a little bit more like how the PGA does with just having great players play with great players at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think, we'll wrap it up here on the golf talk, but I think the biggest kind of obstacle is, they got guys over there. They got Bryson, they got Rahm, they had Koepka, Joaquin Niemann, right? They had big names, big talent. But you look at the rest of the field, and unfortunately, it's just not at the same tier as a PGA field, right? I mean, any given tournament in the PGA Tour, you can have a guy climb up, right? We saw it with Jake Knapp 2 years ago, right? Kind of like a no-name in the space, comes in, gets a win early in the season in Mexico, and that kind of catapults his career, right? Last year, Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin was talented, but was not a kind of household name. All of a sudden, hoops last year.
The Ray-Bans.
The Ray-Ban. And then what makes a Ryder Cup team? Like, those are the things, like, I think the PGA needs to balance, right? Because they want the top dogs and they want the signature events. Give me the best 25. But the best 25 right now may not actually be the best 25, right? Because you see a guy like Ben Griffin climb up the ladder and all of a sudden is actually the hottest golfer on tour. And what, you're going to tell those guys they don't have a shot, right? So I think they got to find kind of that balance where you could still have those like underdog stories, because people lean on that. Wingo, to your point, right? When you go to a PGA event, yeah, you want to go follow Rory and you want to go follow Scotty, but you're kind of curious about what's also going on, right? And who's kind of that guy that's climbing up the leaderboard that's 4 holes behind Rory, right? And I think that's where the difference is between LIV and PGA. The fields are stacked. Like, these guys are freaking good golfers, and they could be ranked 80 or they can be ranked number 1, right? Obviously, the way Scotty's been playing the last couple of years is kind of a hard guy to catch up to. But anything in between, everybody's got a fair shot. So,
and you know, it's crazy. I would compare the LIV extension from PGA to, that's like as if the NFL said, you know what, we're going to really build the XFL or the USFL or whatever the hell it is.
Exactly.
And we're going to ship half the guys over there. You don't want a watered down sport. You want the best guys competing every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You want legacies chased, right? Like, you want to go and chase Tiger's records. Like, there's so much culture and history in the PGA Tour, and for the LIV to water that down it's a travesty, honestly.
Yeah. No, 100%. All right, boys. Well, that kind of wraps up our golf talk for this week. Obviously, season's kind of kickstarting this week, and will be in full effect. So a lot of golf content also in the mix here. But Joe, we know you got your crazy parlays. We got a crazy lineup this week. Pooch, pull it up. Let's hear Joe's, I think it's, what do we got? Like Hall of Fame parlays, or what was the words that we wanted to use? Just crazy playoff parlay this week. Run it through.
Yeah, so this is a life-changing parlay, boys. Gamble responsibly, obviously. So we're going with a touchdown score from each team for every game, okay? So we're going to go with the Josh Allen, Bo Nix, anytime touchdowns, right? In those kind of games, good defenses, gritty around the goal line, you're going to see a lot of red zone attempts. I see them both getting in, all right? Zach Charbonnet, known the vulture from Walker, right? Easy peasy. Jake Tungus was super productive when Kittle was out, all right? Now you got Dalton Schultz. He's always due. Okay, and especially versus a stingy Patriots D where you're not going to be able to run it in. You got to get creative on the goal line. Okay, and then now you got Drake May. Drake May's going to do Drake May shit. He's going to run one in. All right, now sneaky one. DJ Moore is a sneaky one, and also Higbee. Higbee had a really good game against the Niners. I believe he had 90 yards his first game back, so he's due for a touchdown. I know Colby Parkinson had a nice touchdown grab last week, but we all know Stafford loves his tight ends, right?
Oh yeah.
And DJ Moore's been balling, and he balls in the snow, so I could see him getting a nice touchdown as well. I mean, listen, these odds are absolutely insane. So tailor your own risk.
Bobby, got any thoughts on the parlay?
No, I was kind of talking to Joe as he built this thing. Look, there's some risk in there.
I like it.
Yeah, there's some risk in there, but a lot of it makes sense. And honestly, like he said, when you want to make money, like, dude, I think the odds were like $50 to win 500,000 or something. It was like, yeah, of course there's some like curveballs in there and like some things that are not that likely, but you have to go with the risky plays to get the odds up. Of course, you can go with the Puka touchdown, but you're not going to get a lot of money back for that. So, yeah, I like this play. If you want to, build that $20 scratch off to change your family's life, this is obviously the play.
Oh yeah. Let's change some lives, Joe. Let's change some lives out here. Episode 1, why not hit one of these, right?
Dude, if we hit this, brother,
We're retired.
you may never see Joe again. You may never see Joe again, honestly. I don't know what I would do.
You're going to the Natty.
You'd be right back. You'd be
You're
right
going to
back
the
here
Natty,
Friday.
that's for sure.
Yeah. Holy shit.
He's just processing it all right
I've thought
now.
about it a couple times. I've thought about it a couple times, but these are the kind of bets you kind of just set it and forget it. Just let it go. Let's see what happens.
That's like you see the Higbee
Boys,
touchdown come in.
great job on the first episode, by the way.
Yes, sir, boys. Good first episode, boys. What a run. I know we got our...
I'm going to let you guys rock through to the week. I got a phone call for work. I fucking love what we're doing. Just a bunch of guys being dudes, loving the vibes, loving the fucking production, Pooch. Pooch, you're cooking. Love you, boys. And let's have a weekend.
Yes, sir. Go Hoosiers.
Later, boys.
We got our
That was all.
our dude of the week, Pooch. We have him pulled up or no?
I do not have him pulled up. I don't know what the dude of the week. I know there's a couple
Yeah,
options.
I know.
up
We
in the-
kind of last second threw it in there, but.
But I do got a clip to bring us into the dude of the week. I
All
do
right,
got a
let's
little
see
video
it. Let's
clip.
see. Let's see our dude of the week
Let's
clip
see how this
to
works
set
for
the
us.
tone for our pick.
All right, stand by for some video.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Hell yeah.
Hell
better than
yeah.
this?
All
Guys
right.
being
I think our general consensus for dude of the week, Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong, is I know we were between Caleb Williams and Christian Kirk. So I guess we can have the debate as to who deserves it this week. I know who I think deserves it, but I'll let you kick it off, Bobby.
Yeah, I think I originally led off with Josh Allen, but I think if you're going, in your bag and you really want to talk about a better storyline, I think Christian Kirk, man, when his team needed it the most, he delivered. And if they're going to have any chance to replicate that performance and get through another round, Christian Kirk is going to have to deliver again and be that guy with Nico Collins out with a concussion. So I'm rolling with Christian Kirk as my guy, dude of the week.
I'm actually going on the other side. I'm going with Caleb Williams. Being able to see him, like I said before, hand the game ball over to Ben Johnson, what he was able to do with that comeback win. He's shown a lot of maturity, right? And I think this week is going to be the determining factor on his big take, but on his legacy. I think this game is really going to determine a lot of that because, looking at him last year, there was a lot of adversity. The most sacked quarterback in the NFL. What he's been able to overcome and then prove last year in a comeback win, I think shows a lot about his character and what he's been able to do up there in Chicago with him and Ben Johnson. So I'm taking Caleb Williams.
I like it. I was stuck in between, but Bobby, I'm not gonna lie. Your point earlier in this episode was the fact that Christian Kirk probably had as much receiving yards in that game as he did all season long. So why not give it to him? Considering big stage, big game, needing to step up, and stepping up when you need him most, right? So I'm going with Christian Kirk, our dude of the week on my end. So shout out Christian Kirk.
Hell yeah. Nah, Christian Kirk had a huge game. I mean, it was insane, the numbers.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's going to come down to this Texans offense in general. And without Nico Collins in the mix, I mean, we're really going to have somebody step up. So why not see it go 2 for 2?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, boys. Any final thoughts as we wrap up today's episode? I think it was a great first episode. Appreciate you all for tuning in, commenting, putting in your thoughts on the pod. So appreciate y'all. But any final thoughts from the boys before we kind of tune off here?
No, I'm excited. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be able to, give takes, talk a little bit about sports, talk about football, talk about what's going on in the world, and just give you guys our opinions, right? Sometimes you don't like to hear it, and sometimes you are going to want to hear it. But we're going to give it to you either way, and I'm pumped up to be able to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I got go Canes, baby.
Go Canes.
Let's bring home the natty. Let's bring the natty back to the 305. How about that, huh? First time since 2001. College football is better when the UM's on top, so why not? Why not the boys that from Coral Gables to bring this MFer home? Let's be polite here, Let's bring this mother MFer home,
Yeah, I'm excited for a great week of sports. I mean, obviously, we had a ton to talk about. Showed you how much you got to look forward to this weekend. I'm also excited. This was an awesome show. I mean, I think it went as good as it can for the first one. We got a lot more in the works. Obviously, you start introducing, maybe some guests and more guests and kind of incorporating other things. So, yeah, awesome stuff. Great job, Pooch. Thank you, Rolling with Carlos, for pointing out the obvious. Wingo is the man. I will be hitting you with a freaking what is it? Damn it! I'll be charging you for this ad spot for sure.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've been going live from the Dive Bar Pod. We'll continue to go live from there. But in the process, make sure to go follow us on X. Go make sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We'll be cutting up a ton of clips from the episode so you guys can be able to tune in directly into the show, see a lot of the stuff that we got cooking. And of course, we'll be live every Friday with a lot of good content, some new guests, some fun talking points, and of course, we always have our dude of the week, some dude moments, and we're just gonna have a good time while rolling the camera. So appreciate you guys for joining in. And yeah, we will see you guys on Friday.